Here we go. All right. We're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're a little bit late. Corey, are you with me?
Yeah. Hello,
Okay.
my bandits, Mexican Space Cowboys. Sorry for the delay. We are not tech experts. But, how you doing today, Bishop, now that you got everything working?
I'm good, bro. I'm actually still on the starting screen, so nobody's seen you yet. Because I am a tech non-expert.
Well, I'm fairly sure no one is seeing us anyway.
That's okay. That will change. That will
Alright,
change.
so, get us off this starting screen. Let's go.
Hold on. I'm working on it. This is not easy. You are there. So you should be there. Hold on. I'm getting us there. Okay, you're there. Video capture is there. Corey should be there. Banner should be there. And video capture should be there. There. Let's see. Configure device. Oh, okay. So it's not. There we go. Now it's picking me up. Okay. We're back. Sorry, everybody, for the delay, but technical difficulties aside, here we are. All right. Sorry about that.
I still can't see us on the YouTube.
It'll take a second. I'll double check.
Alright, there we go. So, how you doing today, Bishop?
Well, now that this is working, I'm doing much better. That was a hectic few minutes, very stressful. Very glad that it's working now. How are you doing, Corey?
I'm good. Can't complain. But I wanted to talk about something today. Something that has been floating around us video game fans for a long time. And that is the concept, is the single player game dead? With all the multiplayers, all the Call of Duties, all the Fortnites, all the Overwatches, all the goes on and on. This has been going around since as early, when the CEO of EA said back in 2010 that business model just doesn't work anymore. I want to bring the discussion back on the table because last I checked, Elden Ring outsold Call of Duty, and it is, although it has multiplayer elements, it is a single player narrative game. Most.
I'm gonna immediately agree with you that I think single player games still have a place in society. I think that I understand where he's coming from, though, because while Elden Ring may have outsold who?
Call of Duty, baby, the king of the gaming world.
Okay, so Elden Ring outsold a now free game. That's hard to argue.
I mean, Call of Duty ain't free.
It's free. The majority of what people are playing right now on Call of Duty, the single player version, is free. Now, if you want to articulate it to say that the single player version undersold, I can't argue with you there. But I can tell you that if you looked at the Call of Duty numbers, as far as total number of people playing, I'd probably say that they have higher numbers.
Yeah, that's undisputable. That's undisputable. We've seen all the games, and you can argue that. Like, see, when I was formulating this discussion, we talked about it earlier, and I'm like, all right, well, this is what we're gonna talk about next week. Let me look it up. Single player games are my favorite. Be it the battle techs, the strategy games, the civilizations, the grand strategy, the Total Wars, XCOM, RPGs, Persona 5, games like that, the JRPGs. That's my game. So, like, I was like, all right, Elden Ring has got to prove that the single player game's not dead. That that it's still alive. So I went onto Steam and I looked up the top 20 most popular top sellers. They're real easy. And I gotta tell you, like, 80% of them, 90% of them are multiplayer, MMOs, stuff like that. There was the pre-order, or there was Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and there was Elden Ring. And other than that, it was all Sea of Thieves type stuff.
I completely agree with you there. I think that for the majority part, you're absolutely right. The MMOs, the mass multiplayers, the multiplayer games in general are going to outplay, outsell, out interest today's crowd. But I will also say that I know for a fact, given myself, given the Battletech community, given the Mech Warrior community, I can say those specifically. There are high level games, high value games in that community. HBS Battletech, Harebrained Schemes, Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries, which has...
And Mech Warrior 5 did okay.
It has a multiplayer aspect, but let's be honest, that's not the reason people are playing it. Call of Duty, I'll tell you, I've never played a single-player version of Call of Duty. Never gone through the campaign. I don't understand the reason for a campaign in a Call of Duty personally.
No, that's understandable too. And even single player games have these multiplayer aspects. Like I know that the Harebrained Schemes game does. I know Mercenaries does. I mean, even most, I would say a good 95% of games that are single player have some kind of multiplayer aspect. I think they put that in now, regardless, because people expect it.
I agree. I think that the free mass multiplayer online market has captured the majority of the gaming community for now, but it's not the only part of the gaming community. When I say the majority, I'm probably talking about 60%. I'm not talking about 70 or 80% capture rate between these mass multiplayer onlines. Now, yes, your 60% is going to look amazing on paper. Oh, we got 60% of the market. Well, there's 40% that's flipping you off right now for not having a single player.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the argument the single player game is dead, which was, go sort of the headline. And you can look at the numbers, like the AAA. I'm not talking about indie games, although indie games do succeed financially. I'm talking about AAA titles. Has gone down dramatically if you look at every year from 97 to now, the stats I've seen. And you're talking going down from like 1,800 games a year to like 40, like single player narrative games.
I agree with you there. I think that the requirement to be so much more enthralling, the requirement to be so much more captivating, it really has put the pressure on single player game or single player narrative game developers. I'm not going to argue that one bit. It has made the pressure on them exponentially higher than it ever used to be. I see this as both a benefit and a con, right? So now they're pressured to come out with more interesting single player games, but it also means we're not going to get the shotgun splatter of potentially good games we used to get.
The hidden gems. Right?
Exactly. We're not going to get the hidden gems that Final Fantasy 1 was a company's dying title. It was a company's dying title.
The original Nintendo games.
But it doesn't change the fact that there are gems, there are indies out there right now that have that caliber of game that we're not going to see because the mass multiplayer online conglomerate is suffocating them.
Yeah, we didn't even bring up like the big dogs on the table. I mean, Call of Duty is one, but like the real big dogs on the table are your FIFAs, are your Maddens, are your NBAs, NBA Live, NBA,
NBA 2K, NBA Live,
yeah, NBA 2K.
FIFA, Madden. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
But
with the
honestly, let's be
microtransactions.
honest. Your Fortnite and your Call of Duties are the mecca. Those really are. Your Fortnite and your Call of Duties and your Minecrafts, and derivations therein are going to be your mega conglomerates. I'm going to tell you right now, your Maddens and your NBA 2Ks, those are literally probably 30% of the market cap.
Yeah, no, I mean they make billions, and
They do, but that's still
more.
30% of the online community market cap. Your free Call of Duty online probably still generates more than your Madden sales.
Maybe I don't know the microtransactions and then with the live team thing. Can't remember the name of it, 'cause I never, but I mean it's huge. Same with FIFA. I mean, it's $1 billion market, and I understand the allure of a company being like, well, we can just make this game every year and just make billions, or we can make something like World of Warcraft back in the '90s and make money for decades, you know, as opposed to being like, let's make this well crafted narrative and like sell this game and it'll be in a complete package. You buy the game, you get the whole story. Like, I mean, I understand the allure for a company because there's a lot of money out there in video games, and you know it's a huge growing market too.
I completely agree with you on that point. Um, I see both sides of it personally. I think that there is a huge market of players who hate the fact that you have to play 100 hours a week to be any good at the game. That you have to play billion hours a month in order to be competitive. I don't play Call of Duty honestly anymore because I don't have the time to keep up with the 17 or 12-year-olds that have all day to get there and get good enough to headshot me from across the map. But you know what I will play? I will play an HBS BattleTech one player. I will play an RTS. I will play, but you know what I'm not gonna play? I'm not gonna play Call of Duty single player.
No, I get that. It is kind of like depressing to like come home from work. You're like, I'm gonna relax and play a video game, and you just get wrecked by a 12-year-old. It's like, alright, screw this. Like,
Right?
the kid's got skills. I ain't gonna lie. But no, so you brought up something I didn't even think about because, like I said, I'm a big fan of all the single player genres, really. And the fact is, maybe I don't need AAA like Sony and EA to make my games. You know what I mean? Like the independent game scene is amazing, and if there is a hole, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, and you made me think about it differently. Like if single A titles don't stop doing the single player narratives, the indie market will pick it up, and they'll make some fantastic games. And I didn't really look at it that way.
It's really the principle of osmosis. I mean, we all know the principle, right? Uh, Items in a greater pressure system will float to a lower pressure system, right? So if the greater pressure system is your AAA, your Call of Duty, your Maddens, your NBA Lives, that all pressure for a multiplayer interface, you're absolutely right. The indie market is there to scoop up your single player wishers. Harebrained schemes. I don't know another game they make. Now, that doesn't mean they don't make a lot of games, but I'm telling you, as somebody who plays games, I've never heard of them until HBS Battletech, Harebrained Schemes Battletech. That is one example that I have.
And now they've been bought by the guys who make Crusader Kings, correct?
I don't actually know that answer. You've gone further than I know. You've got me beat here.
Yes. Think it's Paradox.
Sure, but my point that I'm making with that is that the theory of osmosis does exist in every facet of life. It exists in capitalism. Now, if all the big money players are going after MMO, well, your Joe Blow independent can't fill the MMO void if Sony and Capcom and whoever, Activision, are spending billions on your MMO, Call of Duty, Fortnite, whatever. But what can they slip in behind those billion-dollar producers? Excellent single-player game.
Yeah, for the record, it is Paradox.
Okay.
The quality hair-braiding schemes. Paradox makes some fantastic games. Like City Skylines, if you want to build a city. Like Crusader Kings, if you want to be a medieval duke. Like, Stellaris, if you want to have a galactic empire. Everything Paradox touches is fantastic. Big fan of their games.
Sure, and tell me, is Paradox a AAA or is Paradox like an A?
Oh, no, Paradox is definitely a triple.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, City Skylines, like, they definitely, Hearts of Iron, they make AAA games.
But these are not games I've heard of.
Oh, you should play them. They're good games. Maybe we'll do an episode of We Watching or Nah, and we'll just do We Playing or Nah. But
dude, I'm down 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it is depressing to me that there are less of these games, and I'm not a big fan of microtransactions. I don't know a lot of people that are like, yeah, sign me up for microtransactions. So it kind of goes without saying. But the amount of different studios and smaller companies that are making games, maybe I don't have anything to worry about.
I think that if your concern inherently is that the smaller single-player games are going to stop existing, I don't think that's a concern. I think that if your concern is that they're going to be less in multitude or less in quality, maybe there's a concern there.
Well, I mean, it's more like I was looking, because like I said, this has been going around for a good 12 years. You know, like the pretty much the CEO of EA said that it's not a winning business model. And so like it has been going down, but now it's been about the same the last couple of years, and I just thought like how successful Elden Ring was, that maybe there's going to be a revival in it.
So you're telling me that you think that there's going to be a revival in the single player genre? Is that what I'm just so I'm?
Yeah, I think I think that, like, you know, the sign that Call of Duty is underselling and Elden Ring is overselling, it says to me that the gaming community wants something like Elden Ring and something less like Call of Duty. Because, like, how many times can you shoot someone in the head? Like, it feels to me like that would get stale after a while.
Well, I can say and make the exact same argument for you on Elden Rings. I would think that getting, what is the word that they use these days? Getting BS killed, there's a better word for it, gets old after a while too.
Yeah. But it's just a hard game.
But I think that there's a larger community willing to get sniped across the map than there is willing to get bullshit, pardon my French, killed by a glitch or by a random monster teabagging you by the stairs, which I think we've all seen that video.
Like I said, it is a very difficult game, but it still sold really high for being a very difficult game.
I'm sure it did, but I bet if you looked at the playing by purchasers, I bet if you looked at the playtime by purchaser, which is, I don't even know if that's a number we could even get, but I would bet that if you looked at that number, you're still going to get a higher volume of people sticking with your Call of Duties, with your Fortnites, with your PUBGs. You know, I think you have a higher volume of players in that genre. And I think it's for a reason. People want to play against people, not computers.
No, and games that have, you know, I mean, I for example, am a big fan of the Magic the Gathering Arena, which is an online game, but it doesn't have a chat feature. Some people think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but a
I
lot
would
of
not want it to have a chat feature personally. That would be horrible.
that's a discussion we could have.
That's another day.
That's another day. But a lot of people do play multiplayer games because of the social aspects. Because you can talk to people, you can talk to your friends, you can play with your friends, and that's cool. That's definitely cool. I'm not saying it's not. Like MMOs, like I wish I had the time to play something like Eve Online. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
feel like that's what would happen. Like I would play something like that, and I wouldn't be able to play anything else because I'd just be sucked into that one game.
I'm not arguing with you there, 100%. It would be far easier to play against a computer than it is against a person most times.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. There's more to that. There's the story, the narrative. Like, I mean, it's also different if you're talking about something like a Persona 5, like a JRPG, because the Japanese are going to make RPGs until the earth explodes. Like, it's just going to happen.
That's true.
I'm more talking about, like your Horizon Zero Dawns, or your God of War, or your Jedi Fallen Order, or your Elden Ring. Like, single-player narrative games. And they do. I just named 4 of them that have come out within the last few years,
You're
God of War.
You're absolutely right, and I think that 100% those are some AAA on the mark titles that are really going to always sell. I think that where you see the contrast in play hours, in amount of people playing for those hours, I think is that you're going to look at replayability. Your Grand Theft Auto 5, that one is one of the few games that I think still really merges single player with multiplayer. It's one of the only titles that I can think of that even legitimately still boasts a playable single player and multiplayer facet together, that many people still vie for both. But I think that what you're looking at here is your Call of Duty. I don't know very many people that have played the single player Call of Duties. I don't know anybody, but I don't know many people that play single player Madden. I don't know many people that play single player NBA. But what you do see is GTA 5. Is a lot of the players for GTA 5, a lot of the players for what was that Western one? I'm blanking, and I played it. Red Dead Redemption.
Because I want to get their name right. Rockstar Games, yeah, they make great.
They make great cross-platform, cross-multiplayer games. They are the kings of play the single player and then never stop playing the multiplayer. You know what I mean? Like,
They've done it very well. And, they'll make a Grand Theft Auto 6, and they'll make a Grand Theft Auto 6 online, because they've nailed it. And maybe
absolutely.
Maybe that's the future of any single-player game. There's going to be a multiplayer thing attached to it, because then we won't ask this question: is it single-player or multiplayer? Because everything will be both.
But I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think you have to have expectations. If you're going to make a single player only, you have to expect that people who value replayability are not likely to buy it. If you value that people who are hardcore single player gamers are going to buy it, I think you still have a decent sized market there. I don't think that you're running, a loser's gambit to make a single player game. But if you want microtransactions, if you want years and years and years of people playing your platform, you have to design for the online multiplayer now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to say it. From my point of view, it's unfortunate. But
which part is unfortunate? That people aren't going to play it for decades to come if it's single player?
I mean, you can go back. Like, I've gone back and played the original Final Fantasy VII. I've gone back and played Final Fantasy VIII. I've gone back and played single fire. I mean, some games, like for instance, like Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem game, is made to be played multiple times, multiple.
Okay, but I can tell you I would say that I probably align more with your main streamers than you're not, even though I would argue against that most days of the week. But for the sake of this argument, I can tell you that I probably have put more hours into, Call of Duty Online than I've put into the GTA single player. I've put into more hours of the Red Dead Redemption Online than I put into the single player. And I loved the single players. I did. I could go back and do the single player of Red Dead Redemption 500 times and get a different result every time. But guess how many times I played that campaign versus how many hours I spent playing the online.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. Like games like a game I love, like The Witcher 3. I played it through the first time. Yeah, I could play it through differently. Play it again. I didn't. You know what I mean? And that's most of the time. That's what's gonna happen. Like, if you beat a game, you spend all the time to beat it, and it's done. Like, but you can go back and replay it. Like, it's not an impossibility.
You absolutely can. Again, those exist. I played GTA 5 one time through. I played Red Dead Redemption one time through. And then I spent weeks and weeks playing the online games. I never played the Call of Duty online. I don't know why they even develop it, frankly. I know there's a small sector that still does. But frankly, I think they need to stop. Honestly, I think they're wasting money. And they're driving up the cost of an online game that people only want to play online. That's me personally.
I mean, I feel like that's a fair argument. But the thing that you can do with single player games, you can't do with multiplayer games. The companies love to do is re-release them. Like, look at what they're doing with PlayStation. They're re-releasing like a lot of original PlayStation titles, PlayStation 2 titles, PlayStation 3 titles. Like, you know, if there is a device that does not have Skyrim on it yet, like there are people in like Rwanda playing Bosnia in the middle of nowhere playing Skyrim on devices I've never heard of because they have put that game out on 20,000 different systems.
You're right, and Skyrim is to me an outlier of your single player genre. To me, Skyrim represents your GTA 5 and your Red Deads. Skyrim is a single player game that surpasses the mass multiplayer need. It gives you so much randomity. It gives you so much intrigue that truthfully, I think that, you know, but how many years ago was Skyrim released, and what version of re-release are we on now?
God, who knows? I mean, I can look up when it was released.
But my argument, it was more of a rhetorical question. The rhetorical question that I was really asking is, how long ago was Skyrim released, and when, for the love of all, was the most recent competitor to Skyrim released?
Okay.
Again, that's a rhetorical question because there's no competitor for Skyrim.
Oh, competitor.
There's no competitor.
I don't know. I don't know if Bethesda has the market on first-player RPGs. I mean, Skyrim's great. The Elder Scrolls series is great. Fallout's great. The Fallout series is great. But there are others out there. Like I said, The Witcher and then Cyberpunk, whatever it's and whatever it's called. Like, can't think of the name of that studio right now. They're really good. There are other competitors. There are definitely other competitors.
I'm not saying there's not other competitors, but let's be perfectly honest. I'm pretty sure Skyrim is being released for the third or fourth time in its original package. Maybe a little bit juiced up with graphics. What I'm talking about is you don't see single player games survive 10, 15, 20 years like you're seeing with your Final Fantasy 7s and with your Skyrims. You don't see it. And the reason for that is first player games have an expiration date to most players. Now, you've got your diamonds in the rough that we've just mentioned. But your mass multiplayer online games, they don't have the same expiration date because you can always throw something new in and you're playing against other people. You never have the same game because you and me will never be on the other side of the map and do the same thing twice.
Yeah, and that's a fair argument. Like, and that's why companies love them. I mean,
Yeah.
the idea that like this is, I mean, at the time it was kind of aggravating. I remember when the CEO of EA said that, like, it wasn't a winning business model, and it was aggravating, and people rebelled. But the fact is, it made sense. As he was correct. As a business model, multiplayer games are much more intelligent. As a consumer, I would like more single player games, but it is what it is. I think ironically, we are in the same position we are as talking about this as we were 12 years ago. So I guess the best outcome I could hope for is that in 12 more years, we have this discussion again. Yeah.
No,
Staying the same is better than changing at this point because any changes will be back.
I think you're absolutely right, and I'm not arguing against either platform, just so we're clear. I am playing a little devil's advocate here. I'm trying to bring a little bit of blunt to the faces.
No, and you always make me think about the argument or the discussion in a different way. I came in focused on the single A titles, and it was really kind of disrespectful of me to all of those independent game creators and the independent studios that do release amazing stuff year after year. There's always some hidden gem that your friends will tell you about, and you'll be like, I've never heard of that game, and you'll buy it for like $5, and you'll be like, oh my god, this is in early access? This is amazing.
No, 100% you're right. I am glad that I was able to bring, some different thoughts to what you're trying to say. Ultimately, I don't disagree with you inherently. I just think that, I want to bring another view to things. I see things a little bit differently than other people. I think that there's still a huge value to single player games. I think there's a huge value to multiplayer games. The thing that I'm most excited about is that I think this AAA stand on multiplayer games is going to bring us back to a late 90s a release of indie style single player games. I think that the money that's going to be spent is now there for indie companies to bring poster, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm sure people know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I don't want to do too many spoilers, or as little as possible. I know it's been out. Like, if you've seen it, you can see it in theaters, but I don't want to spoil it for people who watch Disney Plus. But what did you think of it? Because I liked it. I mean, I actually thought it could have. It was a little rushed, in my opinion. Like, it went from one sequence to the other really quickly, and it didn't really have. They should have added like 10 minutes, in my opinion, let things marinate a little. But other than that, I liked it.
I'm gonna say I agree and disagree with you here. I liked it when I first watched it. I did. I watched it. I had two things going on. I watched it while I was working. I'm gonna be honest. I actually listened to it while I was working. I work a job where I can get away with that, but I listened to it and I glanced at it when I could. I thought visually it was absolutely stunning. It was another absolutely blast of an entertaining watch. I thought that they did great with the visuals. I thought the storyline was a lot of fun. At the same time, I really felt like their plot had a million holes.
Yeah. If you were going in expecting to see The Godfather, you're sorely disappointed. Like, there were a lot of like, hey, look at these bright flashing colors and fan service. But I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 or anything, but it's a good movie. I'm actually much more excited about Thor. I feel like Ragnarok a lot.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know as much about this one. I know that and you're going to correct me on this, but I feel like they're pandering to the woke community here with female Thor. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know much about it. So I'm going to claim naivete here on this one. Listen, before you jump in, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Thor movies. I'm a fan of Ragnarok, which I believe this is a spinoff from or a continuation of. I'm a fan of what they've done with the community, and I'm not anti-woke in general. I don't want them forcing a female in for the sake of females.
No, I mean, I have opinions on that, but the fact is that's not what they're doing here. I mean, if someone wants to have that discussion or argument, I really don't have the time for it, because I don't even want to deal with it. But that's not what they're doing here. It seems to me they're doing the Gore the God Butcher story, who's played by Christian Bale, I believe. I do not want to, but
I did notice that I thought I saw him in the previews.
yeah, and that is from, not, in my opinion, not just one of the greatest Thor runs in comic book, one of the greatest runs in comic book history, which is Jason Aaron is the writer. He did Thor pretty much from 2012 to like 2018, like solid. Like he had an overarching story arc, and it's fantastic. And one element of it was the Jane Foster Thor. She was intricate to the story. It involves, at least in the comic, Thor losing the ability to wield his hammer. And sort of find himself, and there's a complex plot. It's very good, and she adds something very integral to the story. And if they're doing the Gore the God Butcher and the Jason Aaron, they're basing this on Jason Aaron's Thor, which a lot of the stuff they've done has been based on Jason Aaron's Thor. It's going to be fantastic, and it's not even going to be an issue. And you know, it's the same director from Ragnarok. It looks like it's got the same tone. I'm excited.
I'm going to say, after what you've told me, I am also excited. I am not as comic book driven as you are, which is great. You bring that great strength to this conversation that I don't have. So, based on that information, I think that it's very intriguing that they're coming out with this movie. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to go see it in theaters or not. But 100% I'm going to see this movie one way or the other.
Yeah, the director, I don't know, I'm going to butcher this name. Is Takai Waititi?
Now you're going to make me look it up.
No. But he's the guy that did, the last Thor movie. He did the Ryan Reynolds.
Waititi. Yeah, just Waititi. I don't know what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
No, yeah, he's an actor.
This guy's been in movies. I know this guy.
Yeah, but, you know, he's definitely done some good movies as a director.
100%. Okay, I didn't know he was even a director. I've seen him in movies, but...
Yeah, Free Guy, by the way. Well underrated movie, in my opinion.
Did he do Free Guy?
What?
Did he direct Free Guy?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, great movie.
Vastly underrated. Big Ryan.
Was it underrated? I didn't think it was underrated. I thought it got really good reviews.
I actually don't know what it's rated, but whenever it's rated, in my opinion,
it's under. I don't care if it got 100. That's not good enough.
Yeah. My goes up to an 11. That's a Spinal Tap reference, you kid.
Hey, stop scaring the younger kids. All right? We all know the amp goes up to 11.
If you forget everything I've just said for the last hour, if you have not seen Spinal Tap, put down whatever device you're watching this on and go watch Spinal Tap.
Go watch it now. Make your elder generation proud.
But no, I mean, I definitely see how people could see it that way about the Thor thing, but it's not that. And if they do it correctly, which I have faith they're gonna do, plus it looks like it's got the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. Plus it's Marvel. Like literally, Marvel, just shut up and take my money. That's the point we're at with the MCU.
The only woke comment that I
in this movie, like, okay, sure, here, take my money.
No, you're right, but the only woke comment I had to laugh about, again, this is on a social media post, and I wish I was not part of social media, but I can't stop it. When somebody posted the Thor Ragnarok or Thor Love and Thunder image and said, "Oh, it's Lady Thor," and somebody jumped in and said, "It's not Lady Thor, it's just Thor."
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I'm not really a part of social media. But, you know, it is, I knew...
It's Lady Thor! I don't care if you're anybody else. It's Lady Thor.
My point is, like, I don't even want to have this discussion.
You're right. I shouldn't.
It's not... It's going to be a discussion like that, and it shouldn't be. Like, this is a character that's integral to Jason Aaron's plot and the War of Realms and the amazing comic run he did, and I'm not going to spoil anything about the character because they may do some of that in the movie. So if you want to find out, go read the Jason Aaron run.
I have no clue. I have no clue.
It's organized in graphic novel form, I believe. So you can buy the Jason Aaron Volume 1, 2, 3, and go through the whole run. I mean, I know you're not a really comic book guy, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion.
I enjoyed the comic books in a... Wait, is the director also the guy who does the Rock Dude voice?
Yes!
Wait a minute, I just saw an image here. And he is... I'm gonna have to pull this up now. You're gonna have to give me a second on this one.
Yeah.
Desktop. What's the Rock Dude's voice? What's the Rock Dude's name? I don't know what the Rock Dude's name is.
God, I actually can't remember.
Okay, well, I'm just going to have to call him Rock Dude then. And I'm going to have to put this up there because now I am intrigued by this. I didn't realize that he was also the Rock Dude.
The Rock Dude.
That's all well, if I don't know his name, then I can't tell you. So this is the director, Tai Waititi. Is that what we said?
Waititi.
That's what I said, Waititi. I feel like Takai Waititi. No, I'm not being a Jawa here. Waititi.
Korg. It's Korg.
Korg. Okay, so the director for both of these movies also voice acts Korg, who is on the screen now. You can see him and love it. And if you hate it, go blow yourself because I love this character. Love him to death.
Apparently he does it motion capture style, which is always cool.
Is that right?
He does the mocap, it says.
So he does. Wow, that is a lot of responsibility for a director.
Oh, that was a cool graphic. But
did you like it? I thought it was cool.
I mean, my opinion on directors is you know, if you've shown me something, like there's directors that I really like, and they're pretty consistent. Like if I like one thing they did, I'll usually like another thing they did. And, you know, it takes a lot. Like, I mean, I was on the M. Night Shyamalan team for, like, 3 movies until I just couldn't do it anymore. All right. Well, you've let me down too many times. But generally, like, if there's a good director, like, you can tell how good something's going to be. You hear James Cameron, and you're just like, it's going to be amazing. Like, Spielberg puts his name on something, you know what to expect. And you know, there's a lot of good up-and-coming directors that, you know, have done that. Have impressed me, at least.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, if you're talking about like Guy Ritchie films, if Guy Ritchie puts out a film, I'm going to watch it. And I don't know that I've been disappointed yet.
Yeah, it's been a while though, right?
The last one I remember is Layer Cake, but Guy Ritchie recently... I know he did Layer Cake, which was a early 2000s flick. He did Rock and Rolla. He did Revolver. I guess he did Aladdin. What?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too.
He did Aladdin.
At the same time, I'm definitely glad we got there at the same time. Because like, lock, stock, two smoking barrels, you snatch, revolver, rock and rolla. Alright, but now, like, I'm looking at his latest movies, like, not latest, but like the last 10 years. You got like the 2 Sherlock Holmes movies, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was actually really underrated.
So actually, I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit here. He screenplayed The Gentleman. If you've seen that one with God, it's such a huge cast, and now I'm blanking on all of them.
Yeah, it's got Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, I think Brad Pitt's in it. Hugh Grant, I think, is in it.
Yeah, Colin Farrell. No,
Colin Farrell's in it, like huge. So he did the screenplay and the story. He's doing Wrath of Man, which is a Jason Statham.
Yeah,
Jason Statham. He did Operation Fortune, which I haven't even heard of yet, but that's another That's a wait, whoa. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing here?
What, that he's doing Hercules?
No. This Operation Fortune, am I seeing? Hold on, I can't. That can't be right. Is that? It's Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett's coming back to film.
Who is?
Josh Hartnett.
Oh yeah, Josh Hartnett is in there.
Yeah, he's coming back to. He has been out of film for like 10 years.
I mean, I've never seen an adult man be so excited about Josh Hartnett.
I'm sorry, I love his films, particularly one that many people haven't heard of, and this is going to be my shout out of the week. You know what? You just gave me my shout out of the week.
Josh Hartnett? I haven't seen
No, not Josh Hartnett. God darn you. Josh Hartnett is not my shout out of the week, sir. My shout out of the week is a movie that many of you will have forgotten. It is a movie that was starred in by Josh Hartnett, Lucy Liu, Sir Ben Kingsley, and Morgan Freeman. If you can name that movie before I continue, you get 100 cool points.
Alright, hit me with it again.
Josh Hartnett, Lucy Liu, Ben Kingsley, and Morgan Freeman in the same movie. And Bruce Willis.
I have no idea.
Lucky Number 11.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
Lucky Number 11 was one of the last big Josh Hartnett films I saw, and I'm sorry, but he nailed that role. He absolutely nailed it. Bruce Willis, Lucy Liu, Ben Kingsley. I mean, that was one of the most favorite films I've seen in my life. It's not my number 1, but it is on my top 5. So shout out of the week from Bishop is go see Lucky Number 11. I don't care how you got to see it. It's worth it. It's a little slower. It's a dialogue-driven thriller, but so worth it.
All right, if we're going to stick to movies, I will give my shout out of the week. My shout out of the week is, like I was talking about my directors. One of my favorite directors is Martin. Let's see if I get this right. Madonna. He only does like a movie, I don't know, once every like 5 years, 6 years. He's like,
who is he? I'm not sure. I'm not familiar.
Lewis of movies. But he did a movie with Colin Farrell called In Bruges. He did a movie called Seven Psychopaths.
I loved In Bruges.
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Like, all his movies are fantastic, and they are indie films, and they get that sort of thing, but, like, I think they're amazing. Like, I think he's a great director. Seven Psychopaths is a crazy movie. In Bruges is great. Colin Farrell's great in it.
In Bruges was amazing. I'm going to tell you that. I didn't know who this guy was. I just looked up his filmography, and 100% I agree with you. In Bruges is great. Seven Psychopaths was, I mean, it was, in its own right, it was very interesting. But I'm not familiar with the other titles, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, well, and the reason I'm giving him a shout out is because he has a movie coming out this year. It's like I said, it's more rare than the Olympics. This guy puts out a movie like once every 5-6 years.
04, 08, 2012, 2017, and 2022. Yeah. You are correct.
The Banshees of
Inisherin.
No idea what it's going to be about, but I'm sure it's going to be great. It's going to be an actual movie that you sit down and watch and get something from. That's what kind of why I like his movies, is because there's a lot, like we were talking about Doctor Strange. Like it was great. It was a great watch, great use of your time, but there wasn't a lot of substance there. And sometimes you want to watch a movie. You know what I mean? Like a movie that makes you think, a movie that makes you feel things. And that's what this guy makes.
100%. I mean, I enjoyed the Doctor Strange, but honestly, I felt like I don't like movies that could be explained away with 2 lines of dialogue. Like that was, and I'm not gonna.
I don't think it's too late to spoil the last Spider-Man movie, but Spider-Man had just checked with Doctor Strange for 5 minutes before they started that spell. Maybe this whole thing could have been avoided.
It's kind of the same thing in this one, and again, I'm not giving any spoilers. I won't say anything more than exactly this. I feel like if I will say it as vaguely as I possibly can. If 2 people had a 1 hour long conversation, this whole movie wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, we could have figured this out.
Again. It was just like, I burst into the bar and said, you screwed my wife, and then beat the crap out of you, and that was the movie, when you could have, I could have talked to you and you said, no, I didn't.
Yeah, then there's no movie.
No, there's no movie, but I feel like I would have beaten you up, found out you didn't do it, and that was the end of the movie. Like, I know that's very vague, but I'm trying to keep it vague. I'm not trying to give spoilers here.
That's fine. I think we should probably end the stream before we spoil.
I think you're good there.
Being with us today, and next week maybe we'll do a are we playing or not, and talk some more nerd stuff.
We watch or not, we plan or not, we'll do it all, guys. Hey, from the periphery, once again, this is Bishop and Corey signing out. Thank you for joining us for the last hour. Again, leave comments, follow, subscribe, like. Please tell us what y'all want to hear, or we're going to keep filling your ears with the crap that we like. So that's really... I mean, we're going to do that anyway. But I've given you an opportunity to steer some of our conversation. So jump in. Let us know what you like. We love y'all. Thanks for joining. And y'all have a wonderful night.